back everybody to another one of my built model series, and in this particular one we're going to be looking at, I guess it's going to be a bit of a series on some British aircraft, and they're all a little different, but they're all British, so I'll stick them all together. And we're going to start with a very unusual kit that I don't see a lot of being built, and that is the 1/48 scale Special Hobby Fairey Barracuda. So the Barracuda was built for the Fleet Air Arm, the Royal Navy's flight department, if you want to call it that, during World War II, and it was designed as a torpedo bomber. And being British, it was quite unconventional. So these served kind of to the early to mid World War II, and then near the end of the war were being replaced with the Grumman Avengers. So it was a very big and ungainly looking aircraft. It is very dirty, and I seem to have lost one of my radar. The antennas. The post is still there, but the antenna itself is missing. So anyways, it's a very ungainly aircraft. The wing fold, it's very hard to see with this model because it doesn't show it, but this section of wing here actually folded up on itself, and then the wing hinged back and tucked flat kind of back into this area. And it was just a very weird way of folding the wings, but it was the way the British did things. It was just a little unconventional. The engine, the aircraft would have had a Griffin engine in it, Rolls-Royce Griffin, or a Merlin, so it was a very powerful engine for the time. Landing gear is very, very weird. The gear itself is attached to this sort of stub. I don't know how else to explain it. So this piece kind of folds up into the pocket on the side of the fuselage, and then the gear kind of hangs out here. So the gear itself is hard mounted to this, and this is the part that's hinged. And so the gear kind of does this really weird kind of like it, you know, like this, and it does this really weird sort of 90-degree fold. So it's ungainly. It's weird. The torpedo would have hung underneath the fuselage rather than be embedded inside of a bomb bay, and the main reason for that is that it looks like you could fit a bomb bay in here. In reality you could, because the pilot sits up so high. There was a rear cabin back here, and you actually had two crew members that sat back here, a rear gunner and then like a navigator observer, and that's what these windows on the side, there's these big bulbous windows on the side that allow the observer to look out and around and kind of search down and below the plane while it's flying. So the upper cabin is kind of small, whereas it's got these lower windows to allow the view down below the wing. And then because the wing was so high, you needed these really strong landing gears for the aircraft to take the landing on the aircraft carriers. The flaps also had these interesting hung flaps that acted underneath the wing, and then there's the fences that helped guide the air down that pocket when the aircraft was coming into land. So it's just a really weird, ungainly kind of design. Not really sure why they went with it, but it is what it is. I finished it off in markings for a unit flown, staffed by Canadians. So it was flown by Canadians in World War II, and we actually had one of the Vintage Wings ground schools on, I believe it was the Fairey Swordfish. We actually had a pilot who flew Barracudas in World War II come in and have a talk, and you don't meet many of them, so I actually had him sign it, Bill Babbitt. From 825 Squadron. So he actually signed the bottom of the model in pencil, and I flat coated that on so it's sealed and will forever be on part of my model, signed by an actual World War II Barracuda pilot, which was pretty interesting. The build itself is a little difficult. I'm not a fan of special hobby kits. I've built a few of them. They are very difficult to put together. It's a mix of short run plastic and photo etch and resin, and it just takes a lot of effort to get them together, and the fit isn't always the best, especially in a weird aircraft like this where there's lots of weird angles and corners and pockets and stuff. It's very difficult to get it to look good. But I mean, I feel like I did this a few years ago, so it was early in my my model building career, and I didn't necessarily have the skills I have now that could have made it turn out looking better than it is. But considering what it is and how it turned out, I think it doesn't look too bad. And I mean, it's a Fairey Barracuda on my shelf, so I'm okay and I'm happy with it. So other than that, if you're looking to build one of these, I don't recommend doing it unless you do have quite a bit of experience under your belt. As I said, it is a very difficult model to get together and look right, and there's many things I would have done differently on if I had built one of these today. So that being said, though, as I said, 1/48 scale Fairey Barracuda, don't see a lot of them built, a very rare model, so I'm very, very happy to have it built. And we'll wrap it up here, so thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, if you are interested in any of the content you see, you can access my website at www.seans-aviation.com. You can see all the latest pictures of aircraft and museums and the build logs of all of my current models and past models on that site. And if you're interested in any of this content, please click the subscribe button here on YouTube to follow more. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time.